Tips with Tony. Tips with Tony. All about nutrition from your favorite dietitian. Everything you need to digest in your mind. Tips with Tony. Tips with Tony. Making you healthier one bite at a time. With Tony. Woo.
Oh, Pam, I'm so proud of you. Proud of you. So you were just telling me before we were hitting the record button, you were telling me about kind of how you're doing post graduation from the 6-month The Food Freedom Program. So why don't you kind of just speak a little bit more on the type of person you are now and how that's different from the things that you were doing before you did the program?
So prior to joining the program, I would, to me, what I call binge eat, which it's binging in my eyes, but I don't think medically it's a binge disorder.
Right.
And I would think way too hard. I would look at labels. I would really track my calories. Like if I went out and ate, I would make sure like, I can't have a piece of bread, or, I've got to eat this. I can't eat that. And there were so many, I restricted food so bad. And I had did that in the past for so long. Mm-hmm. It really was a job for Christina, because that's who I worked with, to change my mindset. And that was really, if we were to have her on here, I would say that was the hardest part for her, is because I kept saying, when I look at a label, it has 36 carbs per serving and things like that. So not restricting food has been great. Not feeling guilty for eating food, understanding that it nourishes our body, all different forms of macronutrients. You've got to have them all to fuel your body, has actually been a blessing. And it took way longer than I thought it would take. I thought it would. I was like, when I signed up with the program, I thought, well, this will be, it'll be easy. But it's really your mind is so powerful. And my mind just had a grasp on me. And so it's been nice to sort of kick that to the curb.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and it's funny, right? We think things in our minds, we think things are going to take a short time, but it often takes longer than we anticipate, because then you start to uncover, the years that you were stuck in those cycles of under eating and telling yourself you can't have this and you shouldn't have this. So you mentioned that you ended up, you were really binging, emotional eating, overeating. I remember when we spoke before you joined the program, and you were saying how, you would be quote unquote good at work. And then when you came home, it was a free for all. Yes. When most people say they're quote unquote good, that means they're not eating much or not. And that's not great, because we know it leads to that. So since you've allowed all more foods, and since you've removed a lot of those food rules and changed your mindset, how has the binging and emotional eating been for you?
Oh, it's been great. Like, for example, this morning I had egg whites, 2 pieces of turkey sausage, and some roasted potatoes. That was my breakfast. I used to either drink a protein shake, or I'd make a burrito wrap thinking that was enough. And, and then I'll take a piece of fruit to work and eat it as a snack midday. And every day after lunch, I will eat a Honeycrisp apple on the way back to work, sort of as a sweet treat dessert for me, because I love sweet treats. Mm-hmm. So it's my way of curbing that need for me, which what I think's a need, but my mind has stopped telling me to eat. I'm actually balancing my meals more. So come 3:00 when I get off work, I'm not hungry. Mm-hmm. So that to me is the key, is when you eat balance, which I obviously for a very long time, I was not eating balanced meals and making sure I was fueling my body correctly. So, and that's another big takeaway is coming home and being full and not eating out of just boredom or eating the wrong foods for the wrong reasons.
Right. Yeah. So that's something I think you should definitely be proud of. Was there one thing in particular that stands out to you that you're like very, very proud of that you were been able to accomplish within the 6 months?
Absolutely. The one, overcoming my mindset, and it's still a work in progress. Don't get me wrong. When I quit meeting with Chris a couple of weeks ago, it's not like I'm cured. I mean, I'm still putting in the work and still having to work on my mindset, but it has come a long way. And I say I was most proud of that because I can look at it. If I choose to look at a label, I will look at a label and not say, oh no, this has 25 grams of fat per serving and only 3 ounces of protein, let's say, for an example. I just look at it and see if it can fit into what I need to eat or not. And then just planning, which I always did before, but I was always planning the wrong food. I was never planning a balanced meal. It was balanced in what I had thought I had learned correctly all the years previous, which all that I've had to delete out of my mind. And there's so much, and also there's so much stuff because social media is so big in society anymore. And for me not to listen to social media at all. I mean, to the me that's on social media claiming that I know that if you do a body cleanse, you know, you're going to lose 20 pounds in a week, you know, and not falling for quick fixes because it's not a quick fix at all.
Yeah. Right. There's no such thing as a quick fix because it doesn't fix anything. Right. Like,
no, not. I did those many years and they do not work. I am a testament. I did every program out there and you can do them and you're going to drop weight, but you're also eating 900 to 1,100 calories, which is not healthy. And so that's why when you come off the program or any program that you're on, that you gain the weight. I've been there. I've been there a couple times, lost a bunch of weight and then put it all back on. And, you know, I knew this program when I started it with you and with Christina. I knew that when I stepped on the scale, I was not going to see drastic weight loss. And that's not what I wanted because that has not worked the prior 25, 30 years since I was 18 of my life. So that's been good and not depending on the scale also. I went for a long time when I was meeting with Christina. I used to weigh myself every day. For me, I thought it was accountability. And I quit doing that for the longest time. I told Christina, I said, I'm not weighing myself. It's not, you know, I'll weigh myself at this point and then I'll weigh myself again. It just trying to make that there's so many. That's just one tool of many in a healthy journey.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm trying to say. I'm not, you know, where I've lost weight. People are like, oh, Pam, you've lost weight. What diet are you doing? I said, I'm not doing a diet. I'm eating balanced meals. I'm just making sure I move every day. And it's that. And it's as much as people can hear it, you have to be ready to do it. Yeah.
It's just amazing because I find it so funny how our brains like loves to play tricks on us. And one of the things that, the diet mindset tells us is, number one, we need to be in control of our food, so much so that we are so rigid and restricted with it. But that's what's causing you to be out of control around food, right? So it's like your idea of I need to control it is what makes you not control it. And then the whole idea with the scale, as if like, because if you weigh every single day and obsess over it, that somehow it's going to make a difference. And like, it may or may not, but at the end of the day, it's probably not sustainable in that way or healthy with like your mindset. But I love that you have been focusing more on just like eating more balanced, healing your relationship with food, changing your mindset. Before we were recording, you said you started, walking regularly, meditating, just taking care of your well-being. And the scale, although it hasn't been drastic, the scale actually, the weight has been coming off. Yes. It's just not happening out as quickly as it was before. And at least we know now, you like at the end of the day, even if you didn't lose any more weight, it sounds like you are still very happy and proud of yourself, of who you are and who you've become.
Yes.
That's
yes. And I have lost some more weight. I think like 8 more pounds since I've stopped with Christina, or not. Yeah,
when did you graduated? You graduated. So you did the 6 months and then
September, maybe 12th, I believe.
Ago. Yeah. So we're recording because you had a fun trip. So we're recording, and then so we're kind of actually recording a month out from graduation, yes. Which I actually think is amazing. That that's a testament to the work that you guys did together and the work you did within yourself. These are truly healthy habits. Like you said before, you still have to be mindful. You still have to be intentional. You still have to think about it, but it's not like obsessing over it. It's not exhausting thinking about it. It's like brushing your teeth. You still got to think, I got to brush my teeth, but you do it. It's like a second nature thing. So I think it's so great. And it just shows, you've built that foundation. And if your body has more weight to lose, it will continue to lose some weight. And if it doesn't, and like everybody gets to that plateau place because that's our body's way of saying, wait a minute, like, am I safe? And then you can then decide if you need to make some sort of changes, if you're willing to make some sort of changes that might move the needle a little bit more. And if not, then it's learning to accept yourself at that size, because it's not like, how it feels to work extra hard and put in massive amounts of effort to get to this goal that you have for a day, when really we're not trying to do that. We're trying to you want to have these results for a lifetime.
Yes, to sustain them forever. Yes.
Yeah.
And the holidays are coming up soon. And just being able to go to Thanksgiving and be in the moment with the people and not the food.
Yeah.
Not being, what Christina taught me was, when you go to a setting or, because my biggest thing is my friends like to do Taco Tuesday, which is great. I love tacos, but I also love chips and salsa and guacamole.
We all.
And so that would be, you have a drink and then you're mindlessly talking, or you're talking and you're mindlessly eating. And the next thing you know is you're on your third, as a table, on your third baskets of chip.
Yeah.
I mean, it's happened probably to everybody. You go to a Mexican restaurant and you really don't need to order dinner.
Yeah, by the time, exactly.
And so, Christina gave me great tips when I'm in that kind of setting. I can put 15 chips on a plate. But like with Thanksgiving coming up, she said just to walk around and sort of build your plate, after you walk around and you look at everything and build your plate. And that's never been the case for me at Thanksgiving. I always come home miserable, and like most people, and I'll enjoy it. I will, but I know now how to make a balanced plate.
Yeah. Yeah. Like if on Thanksgiving and when you're out with friends, like there's a little, there's a wiggle room. You just also know that you don't feel good when you go too far past that wiggle room, when you abuse, like, you know what I mean? When it's like, not a wiggle room anymore. It's a complete, like the other direction.
Yeah. So when you're eating a bunch of chips and then you order a meal on top of that, you're miserable when you leave. And so that has absolutely been better. And listening, it took me forever to understand hunger and fullness cues. And I hadn't had, as an individual, hunger cues that I remember in forever. I've always eaten way before I was hungry. So listening to those has also been a big win for me.
And you said it took forever, but it took you 6 months, which is a lot shorter than most people, because most people still to this day live and don't understand the difference between hunger and fullness. So the fact that you've been able to accomplish that is really, really awesome. So for those who are listening, there are people that have been listening to this podcast for years. There are people that have been wanting to apply to the 6 months of food freedom for years and somehow continue to put it aside and put it aside and put it aside and make excuses about the money and the right time and all the things. Or there might be someone new that is like, oh my God, I didn't know this was possible. How do we do this? Should I do this? They're not sure. So the reason why I set it up like that is the question is what would you say to someone that is on the fence, that they've been wanting to apply, but yet there's something that they're feeling resistant around it, whether it's fear of change, whether it's fear of success, whether it's fear of failure, whether it's fear of, investing in themselves, whatever it is, what would you say to that person?
I think the first thing I would say is if they had a fear of the program is, do they have a fear of failure? Because that went through my mind, because you were on a podcast that I listened to with Cut the Crap with Beth and Matt.
Yeah.
And then I found you on Instagram and on TikTok, and I started listening to you, and I'm like, oh gosh, she's so relatable. And then I think we had messaged back and forth a couple times. I just feel that sometimes people, they don't want to invest in themselves because they're scared of failure. And this is not if you sign up for this program, it's work. It is. And it can get frustrating. I got frustrating at first because my mind, to me, it's it's not about the food. It's all about your mind. And this has helped me in other avenues of life, not just food related.
Right.
Your mind is probably the strongest muscle in your brain. And I think that if you are a person that drives to work every day and you stop and get you a Starbucks coffee, but yet you won't invest in your health, there's a big gap there. You're not ready. You have to be ready to put in the work. And like I told you earlier before we recorded, people at work had said, oh, you had lost some weight. What diet are you on? I said, I'm not on a diet. I'm just eating balanced meals with vegetables and fruit and making sure I do some type of activity a day. And they're like, oh, that works. Not the message that is out there to people. And
that's great. Yeah, it works, actually. Yeah, give it a try.
It works. It's not like the speedy way to the finish line, but that's not always the best. So, I mean, I would highly encourage if anybody wants to do this program, and if they're ready, I mean, because you have to be ready to invest in yourself. That is the key. You have to invest in yourself. And I see so many people that don't, the illnesses come and parents come, and this is an investment. Just like you buy your house, you buy furniture, it's an investment, but nothing's more important than you and your health. And I 100%, you probably weren't even born when I was young, but I 100%, I would have known this for my adult life, 40 years. To me, it just sucks that it took me till I'm 53 to learn. So it doesn't matter what age you are or anything. Just invest in yourself, but be prepared to do the work. Mm-hmm. And it's work, and it can be frustrating, and you can feel like, well, this is crazy. This don't make sense. I mean, I'm sure Christina wanted to knock her head against the computer screen sometimes at me.
No,
I didn't understand, and I didn't understand, servings of things. So she made me a spreadsheet. Mm-hmm. I still use the spreadsheet. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And what a serving is, and just learning what a balanced plate is. So I would highly recommend investing in yourself and letting this team help you change your mind if you are struggling with emotional eating, not eating balanced, eating out, social settings, whatever it is. I mean, it's all in there. And don't be afraid to ask questions.
Thank you so much, Pam. I really appreciate that. I think here's what I think people need to understand about what Pam just said. It's going to be hard regardless. No change comes from lack of effort. You have to be mindful and intentional, and you're still going to have to, you still have to prepare food. If you want to eat nutrient-dense food, you're still going to have to be mindful when you're at a restaurant. You're still going to have to understand that, oh, wow, things aren't going to drop as quickly as they have before. If weight loss is if weight is part of your goal, it's going to be hard regardless. But I will say that, hopefully you felt like you've had the support where it made it easier.
Yes.
To get you from A to B. And
I am not by far finished. I mean,
you're never done. This is our life, right?
Yes. Yeah. But I'm hoping when I continue to lose that I can send, I know I can, but you and Christina both will get messages from me like, guess what?
Yeah.
I went down a size in pants and stuff like that. Just, little wins. And I know the support is still there. I know that I can reach out to Christina or you for any questions. Absolutely. So it's, it might be 6 months to help you, but it's a lifetime of support.
Yeah. Amen.
It's great. I mean, it's great. I mean, so I've enjoyed it, and I just think, I think people they think that you can only eat chicken and green beans and stuff. And I mean, I made a pizza the other day on Joseph flatbread.
Yeah.
I mean, it's delicious. I mean, you just have to change the way you think of making spaghetti or your favorite dishes. I mean, you just have to use other avenues.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And everyone's different too. That might not even be everyone's very different. So that is, I think for you enjoy cooking, and that really was a great option for you. But there are some people where they don't want to have to change their favorite dishes, and that's also okay. And then it's learning how to balance around it and to address the other habits in their life. So that's why there's a lot of things that can be applied across the board. But that's why I think the one-on-one individuality is so important. So, Pam, I just want to say thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for taking a chance on yourself, taking a chance on us, rocking it, killing it, being a great example and a great role model to all those that come into the program after you. I hope those who are listening, this encouraged you and inspired you to apply. We are accepting applications now. So you would go to www.tipswithtony.com/coaching to get your application in. All right. Talk soon.